Were you an atheist?
Um, yeah, I think so. I mean, depends on what your definition is for an atheism, but
Well, the denial of the existence of God.
oh no, I'm not an atheist, and I'm an agnostic. I
Well,
usually define atheist as a lack of belief.
well, do you?
That, that's why I was asking.
Yeah. Do you assert God is the necessary precondition for all facts?
Sorry?
Do you assert God is the necessary precondition for all facts? That for the,
No, I don't assert that. I
well,
don't
okay,
know.
well, that's an indirect denial of God.
What do you mean? What is an indirect denial?
That while you might not be directly saying that God doesn't exist, by implication, you can draw out that you are saying that he doesn't exist.
No,
Because
I'm
because you're
saying that
saying, hold on, because
I'm saying
you're saying he's not necessary for facts.
no, I'm saying that I don't know. There's a difference there. I'm not sure if you understand.
Well, that's a knowledge claim that you're making there, and you're assuming that you can have knowledge and
So
facts without God as the necessary precondition.
I don't know is a knowledge claim. I mean,
Yeah, because you're claiming to not know something, right? Well, that's a knowledge claim. But what you're doing is you're just making an indirect denial of God as the necessary precondition for all facts. And if you don't accept God as an ultimate context, then you're not going to have a precondition for facts to be intelligible.
I think that I feel like you don't believe that there's agnosticism.
No, because if agnosticism was true, then the Christian God wouldn't be true. And the Christian God says that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood through the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. So there's no agnostics in God's world and his reality.
Yeah, so when I say I don't know, and you say, okay, well, that's a knowledge claim. Yeah, it is a knowledge claim of a lack of knowledge.
Right.
So
Right, but you're claiming to have
how
some
did
knowledge and
how is something how is like claiming that you have a lack of knowledge denial?
say that again. How is lack
How
of
is you
knowledge?
stating how is you claiming that you don't know something? You have a lack of knowledge denial of something.
Yeah, because you're claiming to not know something, and that is a knowledge claim. And you're claiming to know something without God being that necessary precondition for all facts. Now, were you ever a Christian or anything, or
Oh no.
no? You don't come
Why is
from
that relevant?
well, I'm just trying to figure out like a little bit about yourself. I don't think I've seen you around here before.
Oh
Um,
no, I haven't been here too much.
okay,
So
well, nice to meet you. I haven't, yeah, like I said, I
it's a
haven't seen you
pleasure.
before. Um, yeah, you don't sound like you're from the U.S. It's probably, yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm not. I'm from Europe.
oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. Um,
Where are you
but
guys
what?
from?
So, oh, I'm from the U.S. Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, like it's the middle of the USA.
Missouri. Nice.
Yeah. So, as an atheist, you're going to be holding to a contradictory state of affairs that you won't be able to explain.
Such as?
Well, like your life, your love, your rationality, and your personhood. These all exist in virtue of what is ultimate. But in your worldview, what is ultimate doesn't have rationality, personhood, or life, rationality, love. It doesn't have these things. So there's an antithesis. So, but somewhere along the way, these things came into being. But in the Christian worldview, God bestows upon his creatures that which he has. So the things that we have lie in God's attributes. But if you don't accept that, you're going to be holding to a contradictory state of affairs that when I say you can't explain, I'm not like that's the position for every atheist and unbeliever. Though what
Uh-huh.
they'll often say is, well, it's an emergent property of evolution, things like this, but that's not actually giving scientific data or providing. It's just they're merely just with their imagination filling in the blank. With time or something, they imagine these things came to be from the stark counter opposite.
Yeah. Um, there's a lot of things that you said there. Um, you
Well,
see, you say that it will have no rationality, but I mean, why would it have no rationality? I don't see why.
yeah, well, you're not operating from a God position where you believe the ultimacy of reality is rational. Do you believe do
Um,
you believe the ultimacy of reality is rational?
I'm not sure. So, for example, I can make an argument where, so to be a law of logic, right, a principle must hold in complete generality. Do you agree with that?
Maybe lay it out specifically what you mean,
Ooh. Okay, well,
because I
I
don't
mean,
think you're getting. I think you're getting away from what I'm from the issue on your side of the page where I was trying to point out.
no, I'm trying to make an example of, for example, like the laws of logic not holding. Like, I'm not sure if even laws of logic are um, always like, I think they can be false. I mean, I'm not even sure if there are laws of logic. Um,
Well, yeah,
I have,
from an atheist worldview, you couldn't substantiate that universal. But if you're going to just say there's no logic or then there's no truth. There's no
no,
reason for reason. There's no, and so, I mean, this would be an
it has
exercise
nothing to do with that.
in futility. This like conversation wouldn't, and I don't think you're approaching like you're not approaching that
Mm.
conversation as though it doesn't have a purpose and that we
No, I
couldn't
think
reason to
that
some kind of truth.
it doesn't really have to do anything with being an atheist. So, if do you understand what I just said previously? That to be a law of logic, a principle must hold in complete generality.
Well, that's what I was saying. Maybe you could parse it out and say, what are you talking about?
So everybody accepts that there are like different logical systems, and in classical logic, the principle of like explosion is valid, but this does not hold in paraconsistent logic, right? So there are many different reasons for developing logical systems. We may, however, like present a logical system as an account of correct reasoning. So I can give you an example, such as um, heterological is heterological. Wait, do you get what I'm saying? Like heterological is heterological, so heterological.
Partially, I'm not sure how this is on the train of where we were going, like as far as trying to understand the antithesis in your worldview and the contradiction state of affairs you're holding to. I mean,
I'm trying to show you why.
logic makes sense in my worldview because logic, which again, you can't substantiate that it's universal. That's right. You couldn't, and you're admitting to that. You don't believe that it's
I'm
universal.
trying to provide you with proof that there are circumstances where two premises are both true, but the conclusion will be false. And that will show you that logic doesn't is not necessarily valid, at least
But see,
classical
I
logic.
mean, it sounds, but see, but at the same time, you're trying to show me something that's going to make some kind of logical sense in the end to try to even disprove logic. It seems sort of contradictory. That seems contradictory itself because literally you're because you can't demonstrate an incoherence to prove your point, right? You're going to have to try to show me something logical.
I mean,
I mean, I don't know where you're going.
So
It sounds like where you're going with this is incoherence and irrationality. Well, what I want us to accept here is that, well, nothing, there's no laws of logic, and there's really, and with there it follows, there's no real truth. Yeah,
we
it's not
need
the
to
world. It's
have.
not the world that I believe or the reality I believe we exist
So I can provide you with a counterexample for of like. So we need to have reasons for thinking that an interpretation is illegitimate beyond it proving a counterexample to like a logical law, right? I can show you absurdity without. So there can be no better reason for thinking that an idea is false than proving that an idea entails a false conclusion, right? And I can show you that with logic. Um, and it just leads to like logical nihilism. So
then. Yeah, well, that sounds like what you're doing is you're kind of going off in a logical nihilism.
yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to show you that you take all these things for granted, but I can give you
Well,
examples
it sounds
where
like what you're trying to
the
do is
reductio
is you're trying to
will
say
be absurd.
what it sounds like you're trying to do is look, I want to logically show you how me and you are illogical ultimately, and I just don't know how that's coherent. Like it's again that's a contradictory state of affairs that you're trying to express there. But you mentioned about
So,
oh, go ahead.
do you think that the laws of logic is like, what do you believe the laws of logic to be?
Abstracts of God's character, because the scripture, I'm a Christian, and the Bible reveals characteristics about God that are like the laws of logic, that the laws of logic are universal, unchanging, and immaterial. And the scripture describes God as immaterial. God is spirit. Those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. Jesus said he's unchanging. Beloved brethren, do not be deceived. Every good and perfect gift comes down from the Father of lights, with whom there's no variation or shadow of turning, like the shifting of a shadow. So God doesn't change. He's universal. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good. And there's a lot of scriptures other than these that bring out that point about God's attributes. And so they're abstracts from, so when Jesus said, God is spirit, those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. Well, you can't have truth without logic. And logic is a part of God, abstracts of his character.
Yeah, I guess we have a. So I think it's an axiom, right?
Well, I know that's what atheists usually appeal to, but it's kind of it's a way to get out of any kind of ultimacy that institutes and secures and sustains facts and reality, the temporal facts. What's the ultimate fact that sustains all temporal facts? Because, like, do you
Mm-hmm.
believe that there has to be something eternal from which everything came?
No, but the question is like,
Well, hold on.
do
I mean,
you
hold on, because we answer some questions, but we keep getting away from the questions. When I ask you questions, we keep getting away from them. But do you believe that there's something eternal from which all temporal facts come from?
go again? Sorry,
Do you believe that there's something eternal from which all facts come from?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, if there's only other, if you say no, then you're saying that everything came from nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
So yeah, so you would, I'm not saying you have to commit to God or that it's the God of the Bible, but you would say that there has to be something eternal from which everything came.
No, I don't know.
Well, it seems you're going back and forth because you just said you wouldn't say that it came out of nothing, because that's the only other
Yeah, and I
option.
wouldn't I wouldn't say that it came from God either because I don't
No, I
know.
did say no. I remember I said you don't have to say it's the Christian God, or you don't have to say it's a God at all. But you must believe there's something eternal from which everything came, right? Because the
I
only
don't
other
know.
option
Like,
is
how
that,
many times do I have to say that
well,
I
you,
don't
well, you've,
know?
I, well, well, you've given me different answers. That's why I'm curious. Because a second
No,
ago
I
you
wouldn't.
said,
No. Okay, so I wouldn't. Okay, let me clarify. I wouldn't say no because I don't know, and I wouldn't say yes because I don't know. Is that clear? I don't know. If that,
well,
does that make sense?
except, well, no, because you'll have an option that will be incoherent. If you, if you say that, because everything in reality, if you look at, you say, oh, this is a cause from something else. This is a cause from, this is derivative of something else. So what you're saying is that you don't know if everything is ultimately derivative of nothing at all. Or
Yeah.
the other option is that no, everything is derivative of something. So do you hold that everything is derivative of something or everything is derivative of nothing at all?
I cannot believe that you don't understand that I don't know if everything is a derivative of something or not. Like,
Well, so you're well, I'm just saying that though you don't see that as incoherent because you're saying that there's an effect without a cause.
admitting that something is like I
Well,
don't know something is
will
not incoherent.
you believe in a that a fact can happen without a cause?
A fact happening?
Yeah, an effect happen without any
No.
cause.
Oh. I mean, usually not. But
Usually
it's
not. Hold on. Can you show me the time that it unusually happens that there's an effect without a cause?
mm, I cannot show you, but I don't know if it's
Right.
impossible.
Well, then nothing is impossible in your worldview, then, right? Because you're literally saying at this point that nothing is impossible in your worldview.
Maybe. I don't know.
Right.
Wait,
So
why does that matter?
if nothing is impossible in your worldview, you can't have a truth value for any fact because any fact could displace itself tomorrow and become a completely new fact, displacing the old fact.
So what?
Well, you're in a world of incoherence where you not only do you not have an ultimate context by which you can place and interpret facts, but also you can't have a context. You don't have a context that prescribes for what's possible or impossible as
I
far as
mean, it's
what
cool.
is.
No, I can. I have reality, and I can
Well, no, that doesn't mean
assume
anything because
probability.
reality, a Martian ship could show up tomorrow and say that. Do you believe that an alien ship with high technology could show up tomorrow?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
they
very
could. Well, they
unlikely.
could show up tomorrow and say that your whole life in reality was a high tech illusion that was propagated through um, superior technologies, and so all their
It's
facts that
very.
you're
I
acquainted with could
mean,
be completely
I mean,
displaced.
it's by observing reality. I can say that it's very unlikely, but
Well,
it's a
you
possibility.
you can't make any observations about reality because reality and the facts in it are dependent upon what would prescribe for what's possible or impossible. But since nothing is impossible in your worldview, any fact can displace another tomorrow.
It doesn't mean that I cannot assume probability of things happening
Well,
just
the
by making
probability
observations.
you can't assume that.
What do you mean I cannot observe
How are you observing probability?
by seeing if things have happened in the past and how often they
Yeah,
occur?
that's called a fallacy induction because what you're doing is you're saying all swans I ever seen are white, so then therefore all swans are white.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm assuming likelihood. So
Well,
if
this
I,
is all I've
all
ever
this
you're saying this is all I've ever observed, therefore this is the way things are to a reality. But
no,
hold on,
that's
hold on, hold on,
not
hold
what
on,
I
hold
said.
on. But you're a finite particular and
You're
within
strawmanning me.
time. No, I'm not.
I mean, I'm saying that if all swans that I've seen are white, then the next one that I'm going to see is going to be probably white. Because you just said that all things are possible in my worldview,
Well,
right?
probably, but you're saying probably, but How do you know that next swan isn't going to be a black or pink swan that comes walking in?
I don't know that.
Right. So you can't,
That's
right.
very
So there's no
probably.
probably. It's just that because of past experiences, you have a certain expectation.
Yep.
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
Well, it's like a girl looking out the window, seeing it rain for 5 days, and then saying, "Well, because it rained for 5 days, it's going to rain for 6."
This instead of might rain, she would be saying it might rain tomorrow too. Right.
Yeah.
And then everything's possible. It could be
Right.
not
But
raining.
yeah, but what the point is that he can't ground for what's possible or impossible, and he's trying to appeal to some probability, but things could completely change tomorrow and displace all facts. See,
I'm
in the
not.
Christian worldview, like the scripture
You say,
says, hold on,
say,
hold on,
say
hold on,
displace
hold on,
all
hold on. I'm
facts.
talking. Hold on. So in the Christian worldview, the Bible, like God says, He won't flood the earth again. So it's impossible for the earth to become flooded with water completely again. It's impossible for the return of Christ to come before the Antichrist. The Antichrist comes first, and then so there's certain things that take place first, things that happen or that are not possible, things that are certain and that are possible. But you're admitting that there's nothing impossible in your world, and so in that you're saying that it's not even it's possible that one fact can displace another in the next second or two, because that's what anything possible means. Because you admitted anything's possible, well then anything's possible, then the next second or two all facts can be displaced.
Okay.
I don't think
Can
he
you
actually means that like the past can change.
Well,
wait?
the
When did
past
I
could,
say that?
yeah, the past could change if your perception of it was completely wrong. If the
But that's not the
alien ship
past
that he
changing.
admitted to,
That's
if the
not the
if the,
past
hold on,
changing, right?
hold on, if the alien ship that
Wait,
he
what?
admitted to showed up with the high technologies and said that your past has been completely fabricated through high technology.
Yeah, that's not. I don't see how anything is
I don't.
changing
I
by that,
don't.
right? If he says
Well,
that he is experiencing something, the fact that those experiences would be false does not mean that he never experienced, that he never had the sensation of an experience like that, right?
well, yeah, that's the point, is that his experiences are completely false to what he thought the nature of reality actually was. If you
Okay.
can't have a what
But
prescribes for what's possible, hold
when
on,
you
hold on,
say
hold on, I'm
all
talking, hold
facts
on,
change,
let's
when
not
you
talk.
say all
Hold,
facts
hold on,
change, you
let's,
understand that you're
dude.
saying not all
Wee,
facts are
wee,
changing, right?
wee, wee, wee. Look, I've been in here all day, or all week. I have people talk over me all the time. Let's have a conversation back and forth. Okay. If you
We
can't have
can
what
say.
prescribes for what's possible or impossible, then any fact can displace another any second. Because and he said it earlier. He said, and you don't need to speak for him because he said it. He goes, yeah, anything's possible in my worldview. Well, in the admittance of that, you're saying that it's possible that any fact can displace another in the next second, which is to say there's no truth value for facts that I can really substantiate right now.
I don't think he meant that literally.
Well, see, there you go. You're speaking for him. He doesn't need a lawyer or someone to come in.
Wait,
That's what he
wait,
said.
wait. You think that I was speaking for him when I said
Yeah, I think
I
you're
don't
speaking for him.
think
And you say, well, that's not what he means, when that's exactly what he said.
that's not what I said. Wait, is that what I said? Or did I say that I don't think that's what he means? What did I say? Did I say that I don't think that's what he means, or that's not what he meant? Which one did I say?
Are you here to
Because
troll?
one of
Are
them
you
is
here to
speaking
troll or
for
have
him,
a
and then the other
conversation?
one is not,
Because
right?
what you're trying to do is say, well, you're wrong. I'm going to correct you again. And but but the
Yep.
yeah, exactly.
That's the whole point of the conversation, right? It's like someone is right, someone is wrong. It's like a point of like a debate or whatever, right?
Right. And so when he's backed into a corner and he's shown that his world, you don't need to come along as his lawyer and say, well, that's not really
It's in
what
the
he meant
corner.
because the
I'm in the
implications.
corner right now.
Well,
I don't see the
yeah,
corner.
yeah, you are. You're not going to admit it. You're not going to admit it because, right? You're just going
Maybe
to.
from the Christian worldview, I am.
Well, yeah. Well, from your own position, you've backed yourself in a corner.
Oh,
Like he's in a
Yeah,
corner
you
because
you
you said
admitted
so.
you admitted to incoherence when you gave certain implications to your worldview. There's no truth value to any facts that you have.
Like I said, I think that you just misunderstood.
Okay, do you want to lay out how I misunderstood, or are you just throwing out an accusation?
Yep. Sure. Yeah. So I don't think when he said that, I think what he did was he agreed to something that you said, and whatever you said, which was, I believe, that all things are possible, right? That you meant that in the most literal sense of the phrase, right? Like including contradictions, including the past changing, right? You include that as all things. I think he was just using it more of
Well,
like
look,
as a
dude. See,
common
hold on.
thing,
Stop
right?
right there. Stop right there. See, you
He was
weren't
just
even
using it in like
listening. Hold on,
common
hold on.
parlance, right?
You weren't listening to the conversation. He came in here talking about how he believes in contradictions and that the laws of logic can contradict each other and things like that. So I'm staying right along with the conversation. I'm not deviating from anything he said. So you came in half into it. Now you're trying to be his lawyer when he already laid these things out.
Wait, you actually believe in contradictions, Seraphism?
Yeah,
Seraphim?
I was about to make an argument, Fred, but he didn't listen. So
I didn't listen. Well, I mean,
I mean
again,
that's where I
it's
started off.
incoherent for you to say, I'm going to make a logical argument that's going to prove that there's no logic. But what you're ultimately doing is saying, I'm going to give you an argument because, right, you're going to provide something. It's got to have to be logical and rational for me to accept this, right? So you're actually going to employ these principles to try to demonstrate the very thing you're trying to disprove. And it's just logical incoherence.